All right, I'm back again. Gonna do a quick one here. I have an appointment at 10 o'clock, so gonna be brief here. Yesterday, I tried doing a video to talk about an incident that just happened some few days ago. I was out on an appointment with my family for a pediatrician's appointment for our son, but the network was bad and I couldn't come back to finish that video, so I thought I would come through with that video. Is it possible for somebody to get a visa, come to Canada as an international student, or even as a visitor? Maybe you're on a visitor's visa, or let's say, is it possible for somebody to get a visa and then they lose their immigration status? Yes, it is possible. This generally applies to all kinds of visa in Canada: student visa, work visa, foreign work visa, or visitor's visa. These are the most common ones, right? Is it possible for somebody who holds this to lose their immigration status? Yes. What does it mean to lose an immigration status? It simply means you have violated the terms of the immigration, the conditions they gave you, you didn't keep up to it, you violated it, or your reason for coming to Canada has changed, or your reason for entering Canada has changed. Let me give you an example. I come here as an international student on a student visa, and my visa was 1 year. That was what visa I was given. I was given only 1 year when I was coming to Canada. My program was 1 year, so they gave me only 1 year. So when I came to Canada, if I did not go to the school and the 1 year time elapsed, then my visa expires. The immigration officer will say that my reason for entering Canada, based on which they gave me the visa to come and study, I did not fulfill that. So I have violated the terms of the conditions of the visa. If I am a visitor and I got a visitor's visa, so those of you who are trying to come to Canada on visitor's visa, listen to this. You come to Canada as a visitor. The visitor's visa, even if they gave you 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, visitor's visa only allows you to live in Canada for up to 6 months consecutively. 6 months. You cannot stay in Canada for more than 6 months on a visitor's visa. If you would like to stay more than that, you will need to notify the immigration officer that you want to stay longer. Chances are they may deny that or they may approve that for you. What they expect you to do is that when your 6 months is up, you need to leave the country and then try to come back again because your visa is still valid. They just don't want you to stay for more than the 6 months on a visitor's visa. If you did stay for more than 6 months on a visitor's visa without notifying them and you just stay, you might think you are just living in a country, but in the future, it will catch up with you. How? If your visa at some point runs out and you decide to renew it, they're going to refer you to the fact that the records show you didn't leave the country within the time you're supposed to live. If you have a B1, B2, and you enter the US, which is a visitor's visa, you cannot live in the US for more than 6 months. You see, guys, I'm bringing this to you because sometimes some of these things, we don't know them because of ignorance. It's fine not to know it, but the consequences will always be there. So you enter the US on a B1, B2, which allows you to stay for 6 months, and you stay there for 1 year, 2 years, because your visa says 5 years validity. So you think you can live there 5 years, even though you're on a visitor. You are actually violating the terms of the immigration condition, right? The visa, you are violating the terms. What happens is that if you decide to now change your status to, say, a green card or something else, they most likely will refer you to the fact that you've breached the terms of the visa, and then they will deny you and make it difficult for you. Now, yesterday, I was in touch with a friend, an acquaintance, somebody who has become almost like a friend to us and a family, who lives in Toronto. She's originally from the UK. She's African. She's from the UK. So she holds a British passport. She's born there. She decided to move to Canada some few years back, about 2-3 years ago. because she likes it here in Canada. And she came here to enroll as a student, right? So she first came here and then she enrolled as a student too. But something didn't go right. She ran out of a visa. Her visa expired. And when her visa expired, the reason why she came to Canada, she also didn't fulfill it. She came here as a student. She didn't end up finishing the course. My understanding from the conversation we had was that she didn't do well in one paper and then she was supposed to resit it, but it looks like she didn't do it. Plus, she also owed some fees. So she kind of didn't graduate. And she also didn't take the appropriate actions to revive her status, right? To renew her status with the school and to reset. So she started working because she needs money to pay the bills. And the visa finally expired last month. So she decided to contact me and say, you know, what do I do? Should I apply, renew? I said, you know what? Based on the situation, give it a try. So she applied and then she was denied, and the response from the immigration officer, you need to leave the country. You need to leave the country. So she was kind of freaking out, and I've been calling me for a couple of days now, trying to get an advice on what to do. Eventually, I advised her to get a lawyer. She has already done that. She's gotten a lawyer for the lawyer to help her. The lawyers are not guaranteeing you your success. They are only going to try and use the law to try and see how best they can reinstate you in Canada. When it gets to this point, you always use a lawyer if you've lost your status and then, you know, you don't know what to do. They're refusing you. You most likely want to involve a lawyer. But remember me, some of you are going to be focusing on the fact that I'm sharing this story without mentioning the name of the friend. I am not mentioning the name of the friend because I don't have their permission to do that. But the story is something that was shared with me. And I am also generally sharing the story without going into too much details. Because when things happen, that is when wisdom must kick in. When bad things or things that we don't expect happen to us, that is what we must always learn and ask, where did we go wrong to get into this hole? Here's the advice there, guys. Many of you have already gotten your visa. In fact, this morning, somebody just messaged me. I have just arrived in Toronto and I have just completed my quarantine. The person has just arrived as an international student. Good job. Many of you are coming to Canada. Many of you are coming on visitor's visa. Many of you are coming on different kinds of visa. Please, remember, it is your job to know the conditions of your term. Sometimes they will state it on the paper for you just to make sure you read it before they allow you to exit the airport. They will give you that paper. Please, make sure you read it and don't joke with it. Because you see, when you get that visa and you come here and you violate the terms of the visa or the terms of your permit, it will always catch up with you. Trust me, it will always. These people, they don't joke with the law. They enforce the law to the code. They don't joke with it. If you're on a visitor's visa, when my wife came here, she came on a visitor's visa. She didn't come here permanently. She initially came here on a visitor's visa to visit me. And I knew that she could not stay for more than 6 months. Guys, when the 6 months was coming closer, you know what I did? I bought a plane ticket and sent her back to Ghana. Yes. And I know some of my friends were like, oh, but she's expecting her permanent residence. Why don't you let her stay? The result will come. I said, no, I bought a ticket and sent her back to Ghana. That's my wife. Yes. And I told her when the permanent residence is ready, you're going to come back. When she left in less than 1 month, her permanent residence came. So she quickly returned and came back to Canada. But guys, the temptation for her to have stayed was so high. We could have decided that, you know what, she's already in Canada, she's been here for 6 months, she's getting used, let her stay. Guys, it is always risky to violate the terms of your immigration. When you violate it, remember, they can always use it as a legal basis to deny you access to living in Canada. It is not easy to enter Canada. So if you do enter, please respect the requirements. Now, they say as a student, you cannot work for more than 20 hours legally. What it means is that you cannot do any work that is paying you full salary with tax on it, because that one will go in the system. So what a lot of the Africans do is that they find jobs that pay them cash cash jobs, and they do those ones because those ones don't go into paper and they are not found. But so long as it comes to legal work, like salaried work, where you are paid with taxes deducted, you never want to do one which is more than 20 hours, especially if it is stated there that do not work more than 20 hours in a week. You see, there are many international students living in different parts of Canada who work more than 20 hours, but they are not doing those jobs legally. Maybe it is somebody who has hired them to do painting and they pay them cash, or to do something small and they pay them cash. Those ones are not ones that put you in trouble because the person has agreed to give you cash, right? For example, I hired some friends, right? Some friends who came to help me do some small work. You saw the video, right? I paid them cash. I chose to pay them cash because they are my friends. You understand? So that one, even though they are students, is not going to reflect that they have done some work and for this number of hours. So they are safe. But I'm talking about you going to work where they are deducting taxes and all kind of things and it's showing on your record. Those ones, you want to make sure if you're a student, you do not violate the terms that says no more than 20 hours a week, because it will always catch up with you. Just Google and see how many people have gotten into trouble because they did more than they are supposed to do. So please use your smartness. Finally, if you came here for school and your visa is 1 year and you do not finish that school or go to the school, even if you don't like the school, find a way to change it as soon as possible. Is it possible to change the school? Yes. Find a way to change your school as soon as possible. If you are having problem paying the remaining part of the fees, quickly let the school know and find a way to resolve that as soon as possible. What happens is that many people get so excited when they arrive, and then they begin doing all kind of things on the side, busy working, and they forget the main reason why they come to Canada. The moment you violate the terms of the immigration, you have made it so difficult for you to become, your pathway to become a permanent resident is already so difficult. Please, do not become undocumented. You may have heard the term undocumented immigrant. What does it mean? These are all people in the US, in Canada, in Europe, who entered either on a Schengen visa to visit and they disappear, meaning they have all violated the terms of the visa. These are people who use B1, B2 to enter US and then they disappear, meaning they violated the terms of they don't want to go back. Or these are people who enter Germany and then they what? Or these are people who come here as students and they don't try to finish the school and they allow their visa to expire. These are the people who become what we call undocumented resident. Undocumented means they have no legal documents now to cover them as they live in Canada. So these people, when they walk, they walk like this. They don't want anybody to touch them. Now, so way they walk. This is how they walk. You know why? Because if you are bringing trouble to them, they will beg you and they will run away. You know why? Because they know the least problem they have with you. If the police get involved, now deportation. Because the first thing they will do is they will take your documents and run you in the system. And when they find out that you are living here illegally, there is a story of an illegal migrant in US who fell at his workplace. He went to work for somebody, and whilst he was working, he fell sick. And so the ambulance came and picked him up. He was working, he fell sick. The ambulance came to pick him up. And then when the ambulance came to pick him up, they took him to the hospital. And after they treated him, they now had to run the ID, just to see him in the system to, And when they ran the ID, they found out that he was an illegal migrant, meaning the work he was doing is even an illegal work too. And he was living in the US illegally. What did they do? The moment he got well out of the hospital, straight deported to Dominican Republic. You see that? One thing can always lead to the other. You might have run out of status and you think it's fine. You go to one party, one fight happens, they start maybe arresting people to interview. Can I have your ID? One thing leads to the other. One thing leads to the other. One thing leads to the other. You see that? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So guys, those of you who are in South Africa illegally, or you've run out of status, you know what I mean. When the police officers in South Africa get hold of you and they begin running the documents, you know what it means. Now jail time, straight jail time. So guys, all I'm saying here is this. It is so easy to become undocumented in Canada, even though you legally entered Canada on a visa. It becomes, you see, I almost got to this point too when I was a student. I was given a 1 year visa. So when I finished my education, um, I thought I had enough time to process my papers. In fact, I didn't think that by me finishing when my visa expires, I cannot live in Canada. That was just me being so ignorant. And then I waited until about 2, 3 weeks to the expiration of my visa. So I applied for an extension of my visa. At that time, I had not started my permanent residence application, right? So I started talking to friends, and then they were like, why have you waited till last minute? Don't you know that when you are finishing, your visa automatically also expires when you finish your school? I said, I didn't know that. Then I started finding a way to blame people. Why didn't you guys tell me about these things? That was wrong on my part. I should never blame somebody for my ignorance. I should have known. That was me blaming my friends for not telling me I should have done this. And nobody should tell you what to do. You must know. It is your job to know. It was my job for me to know what I was supposed to do. Nobody's job was to tell me what I'm. They are not my immigration consultants. I was trying to blame my Ghanaian friends. All right. But fast forward, I applied. And I think when I applied, they refused me the first one. I started freaking out. I contacted a friend of mine, Mr. Edward Inchi. I asked him, what do I do now? I haven't even started my process. I'm waiting for my IELT result. What do I do? And look, I was those times, there's always emotional moments for you. Because here, the option was this. I had to return to Ghana. And the truth is that unless they use grader to come and remove me, I didn't want to go to Ghana. You know, understand grader? Unless they use articulator to come and come out me. That country, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go. I would rather prefer to become something here than to go back to that country. Because the kind of things I went to that country, I didn't just want to go back. I don't hate Ghana. I just didn't want to go back and face those conditions in Ghana. Wow. I started contacting my friend. I remember he said we should pray. That's the time that many of us become prayerful. You have never prayed before. That's the time you begin praying. Oh Lord, you know your son. Please, this one is small. Please do a miracle. Yes, I did all of that. I prayed. And this man advised me. And then we decided to explore some few ways. So we sat down and let me tell you what happened. So I looked at the date that I submitted my final research paper. And it showed that the time I submitted the final research paper for my grades had gone past the 1 year period of my student visa. Listen carefully. My student visa was supposed to expire in December. But at the time that I submitted my final paper for my professor to grade and give me my grades, it was after December. So we sat down and then we wrote a long letter, emotional letter. And I explained to the officer, I said, please consider me. I know you refused me. Consider me. I was a student doing my graduate studies. I was busily trying to finish my paper. You can see clearly. Then I sent screenshots. So I printed all the screenshots, conversation between me and my professor, showing the timestamp and the date. I said, clearly you can see from here, I was doing a lot of back and forth with my professor. He was still grading me. You can tell that the time that he was reviewing my last paper, my thesis, it was after December, which technically means that my program had gone beyond 1 year. So, sir, it would be nice if you can extend my visa for another 1 year, because my program, even though it was 1 year, it exceeded the 1 year mark. So please consider that timeline. And I prayed over it. And lo and behold, even though my visa was not supposed to be extended, the officer extended it for me. You see how grace made me find my way. Else, I would have lost my status on that 1 year visa because I didn't act quick enough. I was ignorant, and I was blaming my friends and Ghanaians around for not telling me what time to have applied. If you are listening to this, guys, listen carefully. Wisdom is when we learn from our mistakes. I have learned from my mistake. That is why I didn't repeat that mistake with my wife when she came here as a visitor. If I bring any family member here as visitor, 6 months, now you will go. Even if you don't have the money, now me go buy, give you, go back. I won't let you stay here for more, and you destroy my record such that when I'm inviting somebody in the future, they will not be giving the visa because people I'm bringing. Yes. You understand? Listen to this. When you get your visa It is your responsibility to familiarize yourself with the terms of the visa. Ignorance is not an excuse, as I was trying to blame others for my ignorance. It is your duty to know the terms of your B1, B2, the terms of your UK visa, the terms of your Canadian visa. Do not sit and think that you have forever to live here. Until you become a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen, your days are always numbered. The earlier you act, the better. Do not sit and hope you will stay here and things will just go fine without taking action. Ignorance is never an excuse. Hopefully, we pray that this lady will succeed with her appeal through the lawyer. But if it doesn't, you know what it means. Even if she applied for another school, they will still refuse her because she's currently living in Canada illegally, right? So, guys, I hope this is a good advice to you. If you are currently an international student living here and you've seen this video, share it with your other international students. Many of us are ignorant. Remember, I was a master's student, but I was damn ignorant at that time. How much more you a college student or a high school student? You are likely to be ignorant too. There are many of our colleagues who run into these problems. So share and make sure that it gets to your friends who are international students so that they will learn to respect the terms of the visa and the terms so that they don't make it difficult. If you're also watching this and you've ever become stranded like I was, I shared my own story. Comment down there so that people know that these things are real. These things are real. They are no joke. Eh? All right. God bless you. This is Choco Millionaire. Remember, we don't need more money to live life. We need more wisdom. God bless you. Follow me on YouTube and you'll get more content as well. The name on YouTube is the same, Choco Millionaire. Just type it. I have over 120 videos, including my first video on how to use wealth creation to change your life as well, how to create wealth. I hope you enjoyed. God bless you. Bye.